Securities joining us on board to make sense of this new regulation that we've seen in the Alcobev space last evening. Karan, hi, morning. Thanks so much for joining us. First of all, on the back of all of these announcements, before we get stock specific, help us understand what the overall impact of this is going to be, because in your note you do mention that this could lead to a rise of 30 to 50% in MRPs. Help us understand what the impact could be, especially on the premium side of things, the luxury and the prestige segment of alcohol.
Hi, good morning. I think if you look at the impact, it's quite clear that this is the highest ever percentage price hike that Maharashtra state has announced over the last 12 to 14 years. This is a very good, this will have a very big negative impact in terms of volume offtake across various categories, right from low prestige segment to the luxury segment. Now, if you look at the generally in terms of MRP split, for any Alcobev company or any bottle in terms of the packaged product, 70 to 75% of the MRP is duty. Assuming that there is a 50% hike in duty in various categories that the government has mentioned, we will see an MRP hike of anywhere between 35 to 40% for most of these brands. Now, what this does is that you could see volume offtake declining in the luxury segment. You could see some trends of down trading which could be played out because the consumers may move from BII, BIO, which is bottled in India, bottled originally, the luxury segment towards the upper prestige segment. And this kind of down trading will continue to the low prestige segment. Low prestige segment consumer may not move to country liquor, which means low prestige segment will also see a negative impact in terms of volume uptake. So the two segments which will see the biggest hit in terms of volume in our assessment, one is the low prestige segment, which is price sensitive in nature, and second is the luxury segment, wherein the growth rates are extremely high. And because the price hike is so steep in nature, you might see some trends of down trading. So it's one of the first times in the alcohol industry that one state will actually see some trends of down trading, because in the last 5 to 7 years, what we have seen clearly is a shift towards premiumization. So things are going to go in the reverse manner this time around.
And I'm guessing this would impact not just the industry, but listed players like United Spirits in particular, right? Have you done any calculations on how much the earnings hit could be, perhaps?
So I think look at United Spirits, they are market leader in the luxury segment. They've got a very strong recall in their Scotch portfolio, the BII, BIO portfolio. As I said, just because the luxury segment is very high in terms of price and will see a very steep price increase. Already, if you look at Maharashtra state, the luxury segment or any other category for that matter is one of the highest as compared to other states. So you will see, negative impact in terms of volume offtake. You will see downgrading trends. As per our assessment, if you look at UNSP, close to about 22 to 23% of their sales comes from the Maharashtra market. And if you look at the luxury segment as well, almost about 20-25% of the revenue comes from the luxury segment. So there is high salience in that luxury segment, which could see the biggest hit as far as down trading is concerned. So as per our assessment, you could see, the volumes seeing a negative impact. So let's assume that revenues from the Maharashtra state actually fall by 20% over the next 12 to 18 months. And given the kind of contribution that UNSP has in Maharashtra, as per our assessment, is about 15 to 20%. So we do see about 3 to 4% kind of a negative impact in terms of revenues. And because Maharashtra is very high in terms of profitability, if you look at the states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, which are somewhat free in nature in terms of the way they operate, they're not government regulated in a very big manner as compared to Telangana, Tamil Nadu, other states put together. The negative impact on profitability also will be higher as compared to the revenue downgrade. So as per our assessment, you could see a 7 to 8% kind of an earning downgrade for UNSP if all these things hold true in terms of numbers. We still await the detailed document by Maharashtra government in terms of what exactly has happened and the quantum of percentage hike.
All right, so 7 to 8% of an earnings hit could be in for United Spirits. But Deepan, help us with your take on this whole news flow. It's been a steep hike in terms of the prices, the volumes are expected to take a hit. But like Karan was highlighting, two segments particularly can have an impact, be it the low prestige segment and the luxury segment. Which segment do you believe can have the most hit with respect to this news flow, and what implications can it have on the volumes?
Well, I think Karan summarized it pretty well, and basically all I can add over here is that in our assessment of the alcohol industry, it's better to be with the regional players, the likes of Radico Khaitan or Allied Blenders. Of course, Allied Blenders is not a regional player, It's India's largest alcohol company in terms of volume. But there are other smaller players as well. Piccadilly comes to mind, some distilleries. I think where to work in this industry through these regional players, they're able to manage the regulatory environment quite well. But there's of course the risk that a particular state in which they have a high sales concentration may increase the levy of taxes. But on the whole, see, eventually these things do get absorbed, and there could be a dip in volumes for the next 6 to 12 months or so, and effect could come on the company's corporate profitability as well. But these are great long-term secular growth stories, and if you buy them when the chips are down, when the cycle is down, then when the demand revives, these companies tend to have a super increase in their profitability as we have seen in the past. So it's a sector we like to be overweight in, but I think let's just see the impact of this play out for the next couple of quarters or so.
Okay, Deepan and Karan, coming to you, we also believe that Maharashtra is planning to increase license fees for retail outlets. How much could this detriment these outlets in terms of their revenue, or how much could the increase be in terms of this move, and how much incremental impact will this new fees have on all the retailers in Maharashtra?
So, as I mentioned earlier, Maharashtra is a free market, both on the wholesale and the retail side. Hike in license fee is something which works against profitability of the retail outlets. Maharashtra has a sizable contribution in terms of overall IMFL volumes. Even in terms of outlets, as per our assessment, there are more than 15 to 20,000 outlets in Maharashtra. It's quite a large market, and depends in terms of what is the quantum of increase in license fee. If the quantum of increase is 15-20%, I think most of these outlets will take that hit in their profitability margins. But if the hike is exorbitant in terms of 80%, 100%, or even more than that, you could also see certain withdrawal of license, which means even the supply side could see issues as far as distribution is concerned for the alcobev in Maharashtra. So I think on net, it looks to be like a big negative news as far as Maharashtra state is concerned. I think this is very similar to Karnataka state as well. I think if you look at Karnataka state as well, in the last 4 to 5 months, not for IMFL, but for the beer industry, they have had 2 rounds of price hikes. So many states are kind of struggling for finances, and they are finding alcobev segment to be, to increase the taxes on alcobev segment to kind of have a saving grace.
This we let you go on that. Thank you so much for taking the time out and giving us a sense that what this news flow really means for the listed players out there. But with this, viewers, let's move on and let's get back to some of the other